Hello there, everybody. My name is Cabasco. As you've probably been seeing these past 2 or 3 days, or however long it's been, I've been modding Miitopia Switch demo. And before I continue, obviously, spoilers for endgame content of Miitopia Switch. Before I go on to what I'm going to talk about, I want to first talk about some things, address some things I've seen in my comments. The Switch version of Miitopia internally is very, very similar to the 3DS version, at least in terms of enemies, stages, all that, jobs, anything stat related. Miitopia uses, surprisingly, spreadsheets in the .csv format, which is comma separated values. So everything's very easy to edit as long as you have the right tools for extraction. And I have been working on various Miitopia projects, personal projects on the 3DS for I'd say many years, but the game hasn't even been out that long, but for the past like 2 years, I'd say. And because of that, I already had a lot of experience working with the Miitopia CSVs. Now, with that, I found some new enemies and a lot of information that is pointing towards there being a new final area called the Tower of Gods. Now, normally in Miitopia 3DS, there is a last challenge called the Tower of Dread, which is a boss rush where you fight the Dark Sun at the end. This, however, is a new tower in New Lumos that is in the game's files. With that comes several new enemies, all bosses, and a new boss rush in what we are calling the Tower of Gods due to the internal name being Tower Gods. Now, I have put the Tower of Gods into the demo, and you will be able to download it and play it for yourself if you really want to. You definitely need to be level 50 in order to accomplish this, and need endgame equipment. There's no way around that. However, if you would like, I am going to include an extra mod that makes it so Banshees will give 10,000 XP each, as well as a lot of gold. Same with Slimes. However, you probably won't need to grind this gold, as I will also be including a mod alongside that changes the equipment, the base equipment for each class, each job, to be as powerful as the endgame equipment. So if you don't want to do the grinding and just want to go into the Tower of Gods with whatever team you got, you can do that. I'm also going to look into seeing if I can edit how much relationship points something gives if you want to get to instant relationship status of 50, because that's also probably a requirement for making through the entire Tower of Gods. I'll also be making it so if you would like to, you can also have the maximum amount of sprinkles, HP Banana, MP Candy, and Safe Spot Healing. Those will be optional if you really want to grind all the way up to endgame in the demo. You do you, I suppose. With this, I'll also be including a mod that allows you to fight the Dark Lord. That will be in the area where you normally fight the Imp boss of the demo. There's no music because the music is not present. So it's just silence. I apologize for that. However, the fight is fully functional, and this boss fight, in the main game, in the 3DS version at least, you're normally around level 20 to 25, I believe. Now, if you want to start a new file and all of this, you can. With this will be included a mod that lets you select any job from the start. However, any mod that's not in the demo, or any job that's not in the demo, such as Cat, Scientist, Imp, Flower, Tank, all those, they work functionally. However, they have no models and no animations. So that's if you really want to play with them. Elf, Vampire, they work statistically. They have their skills, they have the stats. However, they will not have any models or animations. The models for the weapons will be replaced with HP Bananas, and when you do an attack, they'll just stand there. So, I'll quickly go over what enemies will appear in the Tower of Gods. Keep in mind that every single enemy does not have a model in the demo, so I have substituted them with placeholder models for various enemies that exist in the actual demo. I've also put in the names that you'll see on screen. These names do not exist in the demo. We do not know what the enemies' names are going to be. We only know what types of enemies they're going to be based on the internal names. So, starting off with the first floor of the Tower of Gods, there are 6 goblins. 5 goblins being ones that can make your Miis angry, which I have called Fury Goblins. And another goblin that has higher attack than other ones that will hit you. This one, I don't remember what I named it. It's probably like God Goblin or something. I tried to name them after the Tower of God's motif. The next boss fight is a golem. However, the model I had to use for it was the rock boss because there is no golem model in the demo. The next boss is 3 pharaohs, which I've called Forgotten Pharaohs. who don't have the motto, obviously, so they are butterflies. Something I should have mentioned is all of these bosses have the highest stats in the game, with the final boss having more stats than the Dark Sun. After you beat the 3 pharaohs is an Orochi, which obviously is stronger than any Orochi in the 3DS game. After that, you fight 4 burgers at once, and that's a fairly annoying fight. After you beat those burgers, you fight 2 Ice Queens, or Dark Queens, and 1 Fiend. If you don't know what a Fiend is, it's in the 3DS version of the game, and they don't take any damage from magic attacks, they only take damage from basic attacks, and they one-shot all your party members every time they go. After you beat that, you will be fighting a Dark King and Evil Sage, except stronger and at the same time. So in the Tower of Dread in the previous game, there were the Dark King and Evil Sage, which are basically more difficult Dark Lord fights. And if you can beat those 2 bosses at the same time, you get to the new super boss of the game, which is the final Snurp. Internally, this is referred to as a Mimit. Mimits in the game are Snurps. That is what their internal name is. There is no debate about it. The final boss of Miitopia Switch, post-game of course, will be a Super Snurp. This Snurp has higher stats than the Dark Sun, and if you want to see more about that fight, you can go look at my video of me beating said boss, which took about 20 minutes. I won't spoil it for you otherwise. Well, there you go. The mod will be in the description, and of course, to play this, you need a hacked Switch, or you could use Yuzu. However, Yuzu with Miitopia, you need a pre-made save file because you cannot create or select Miis. Thank you for everyone who's been watching the Miitopia content. I have a lot of fun modding this game. I will probably be working on a hard mode when the Switch version comes out, like I was for the 3DS version. I have a lot more motivation now ever since I know the Switch version exists, and I know a lot more about what is possible. Oh, and I should have mentioned this. To fight the Tower of Gods, you just go to the end of the demo, where the guard usually stops you. Instead of the guard talking to you, you will instead be fighting the Tower of Gods. Thank you.